Part 2. A week before my wedding, my family sat me down and told me my sister was pregnant by my fiancé, and that they were getting married instead. 2 years of silence. Then last Tuesday happened. I was making coffee when someone started pounding on my door, not a normal knock. This was frantic, desperate, end of the rope knocking. I opened it. It was my mom. She looked like she'd aged 10 years overnight. And in her arms was a screaming toddler, blonde hair like Nora's. Nose unmistakably Rob's. "Oh, thank God," she gasped. "I didn't know if you still lived here." I just stared. The kid was real. This wasn't gossip anymore. This was a whole human being who existed because of what they did. "What do you want?" I asked. My voice came out colder than I expected. "Please," she said. "Can we come in? He's been crying for hours and I..." "What do you want, Mom?" Her face crumpled. That's where I left off my mom on my doorstep, holding the human embodiment of betrayal. Looking like life had run her over and reversed for good measure. She finally exhaled and said it. "Your sister can't cope anymore." Of course she can't. Apparently. The fairytale imploded hard. Rob shockingly turned out to be a cheating, unreliable man who didn't magically reform after blowing up my life. He bailed when the kid was 6 months old. Just vanished. New city, new girlfriend, same old moral compass non-existent. Nora spiraled. Postpartum depression, burnout. The works, but also a heavy dose of main character syndrome. She moved back in with my parents, who quickly discovered that helping with the baby actually meant raising the baby. My mom looked exhausted. My dad had high blood pressure now, tragic. "We thought maybe you could help," she said carefully. "Just for a little while." There it was. I laughed again. Apparently that's my trauma response. "You cut me out of the family," I said. "You told me to step aside so my sister could marry my fiancé. And now you're here because..." "What? You need a spare adult." She started crying. Real tears. The dramatic kind. "We made mistakes. Then she hit me with a line that should be illegal. "He's your nephew." I looked at the kid. He'd stopped crying and was staring at me. Curious, innocent, none of this was his fault, and that was the cruelest part. But here's the thing. Being innocent doesn't make him my responsibility. "I'm not your solution," I said, opening the door wider not to invite them in, but to make a point. "I built a life you weren't part of. You don't get to show up now because things went sideways." My mom whispered, "So that's it? You're really going to turn your back on family?" I smiled, small, tired, calm. "No," I said. "I learn it from the best." I closed the door. I didn't call them. They didn't come back. I did sit on my couch and shake for a bit. Then I made fresh coffee and went to work. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. Sometimes the next chapter isn't revenge or forgiveness. Sometimes it's just peace. Part 3. A week before my wedding, my family sat me down and told me my sister was pregnant by my fiancé, and that they were getting married instead. So I really thought that was the end of it. Door closed, boundary set, roll credits. Yeah, no. 3 days later, I get a call from an unknown number. I don't answer. Then another, then a voicemail. It's my dad. His voice is tight, clipped, like he's holding in rage or heartburn, maybe both. "You can't just abandon family like this," he says. "Your mother's beside herself. Nora isn't well, that child needs stability." Interesting how my stability never made the list. I delete the voicemail. Then my aunt texts me, the one who always stays neutral but somehow only ever calls me. "Your mom says you slammed the door in her face. That was cruel." "Ah yes, because doors have memories now." Then a cousin messages me on Facebook, someone I haven't spoken to in years. "I heard you're refusing to help with your nephew. That's cold." Funny. No one said a word when I was the one left standing alone at the altar. By Friday, it escalates. I'm working from home when I hear voices outside, raised voices, too close. I peek through the blinds. It's my parents' car, parked, engine running, like they're gearing up for another emotional drive-by. My mum is pacing. My dad is on his phone, probably calling someone to guilt text me in real time. I don't open the door. Instead, I sit on my couch and let them knock. And knock. And knock. Eventually my dad shouts, "We just want to talk." "No, you want compliance." After 10 minutes, a neighbor comes out, asks if everything's okay. My dad suddenly remembers how to use an indoor voice. They leave. I think finally, that's done. Saturday morning, I get an email from Nora. Subject line, "Please read." I shouldn't have. But curiosity is a disease. She writes like nothing ever happened. She says motherhood is harder than she expected. She says Rob wasn't who she thought he was. She says she needs her sister. Then she drops this gem. You've always been stronger than me. You can handle more. I need you now. There it is again. The bigger person. I don't reply. But I do finally do something I should have done 2 years ago. I call a lawyer. Not for drama. Not for revenge. For peace. Turns out, if people keep showing up at your house uninvited, blowing up your phone, and recruiting relatives to harass you, that's not family concern. That's harassment. I send one message, to a group chat I didn't even know existed until my phone started lighting up. Do not contact me again. Any further attempts, calls, visits, messages will be documented and handled legally. Then I block them all. Again. This time for real. And you know what? The silence afterward isn't lonely. It's quiet, and quiet feels like freedom. Last part, a week before my wedding, my family sat me down and told me my sister was pregnant by my fiancé. And that they were getting married instead. So this is the last part. And for once, it's not messy, it's not dramatic, it's just good. After I sent that message and blocked everyone, the world didn't end. No police showed up, no court summons, no dramatic monologue shouted from my driveway. Just silence. Weeks passed, then months, and in that quiet, something wild happened. My life kept getting better. I threw myself into work, and ended up getting promoted. Turns out it's easier to shine when you're not constantly being emotionally mugged by your own family. I made friends who didn't see me as the reliable one or the backup plan, but as someone they actually liked being around. I started therapy 10/10, would recommend. Learned that being kind and being available for abuse are not the same thing. Then, about 6 months later, Karma finally clocked in for her shift. I found out through mutuals because of course I did. Nora moved back in with my parents permanently. Rob never came back, not even a birthday card. My parents are basically raising the kid full time, and suddenly the golden child isn't so golden when diapers, tantrums, and sleepless nights are involved. And me. I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt free. Here's the actual happy ending though. I met someone. Nothing dramatic, no sparks flying across the room nonsense. Just a guy who listened, who didn't flirt with my sister. Who didn't need me to be the bigger person all the time. On our first date, he asked about my family. I said, it's complicated. He smiled and said, yeah, same, we can make our own. And we did. Last weekend, we hosted a small dinner at our place. Friends, laughter, too much food. At one point, I caught myself looking around and thinking, this is what love is supposed to feel like. Not sacrifice, not silence, not swallowing pain to keep the peace, just a warmth. I still don't talk to my family, and that's okay. Some doors are meant to stay closed, especially the ones that only open when someone wants something from you. If there's a lesson here, it's this. You don't lose your family when you set boundaries. You find yourself, and honestly, that's the happiest ending I could have asked for. Thank you for watching, the end. Please don't forget to like and subscribe in my channel.